Hi, welcome everyone. This is the week 10 of the plant physiology course. Please first take a look at this screen. Plants might look like they are just sitting there, but they are actually master builders. Under the surface, it is a busy place. These dots you see in the soil, think of them as the raw materials, which are actually essential minerals, and water also hidden there. Both are hidden in the soil. The root itself acts like a smart vacuum system. They don't just suck up everything, they actively find and pump exactly what the plant needs to the rest of the body. And our big topic today is assimilation. So this is basically a fancy words of saying how a plant turns raw materials into life. It's kind like of the some magical moments when a plant takes those minerals and turn them into actual part of the plant itself, like a new leaf, strong stem, or the fruit we eat. So then let's dive in and see how this transformation actually happens. So then let's begin to talk about the plant nutrients. Talking about nutrients is like talking about the food. But how do plants actually eat? It's somehow a mystery that took over 2000 years to solve. Let's dive into the history of the plant nutrition. So, back in the ancient Greece, it was a simple theory. People believed that plants were like sponges, like SpongeBob, just sucking up a mysterious nutritional fluid directly from the soil. They didn't know the actual matters. And then fast forward into 1700s, Jan Baptista von Helmont shook things up. Through his famous willow tree experiment, he proved that the water, not just the soil, was key ingredient for plant growth. And then by 80s, 90th centuries, pioneers such as de Saussure and Knoop had discovered the invisible power of inorganic salts and minerals. They realized that plants needed specific chemical elements to thrive. And then today, we use the essential criteria. It is kind of a scientific checklist that helps us pinpoint the exact nutrient a plant cannot live without. So no more guessing. So then from ancient myth to modern science, we finally know the secret to a green creature. It took a long time to finally understand them. Do we really understand enough? Not really. In fact, the more research about it is also popular nowadays. So here are the things. If I look at the Scopus database, a search engine basically for high quality publications, you know, the paper, something like that, and search for keyword of the plant nutrients, from 2020 to now, we will get around 100,000 papers. As we look the trend, here is the graph. Essentially, you can see that the more paper is being produced over the years. So until today, we somehow still didn't know much about the plant nutrient. Next, this slide explains how we group the nutrients. First, regarding the portion, the bottom one here. So the macronutrients, these are the main courses required in the larger amounts, expressed as the percentage of the plant dry weight. Think of elements like nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, and also silicon. And then the micronutrients. These are just like the vitamins, needed only in a tiny trace or parts per million, the ppm. But even though needed in small amounts, elements like iron, boron, zinc, copper, and nickel are also absolutely critical for the survival of the plant. So then, once these nutrients are absorbed, what do they actually do inside the plant? They are then assigned to one of four working groups. Basically, the group 1 is the builder. They form the vital carbon compounds. Examples include N, S, and also P. So essentially to make the carbon backbone. And the second group is for the strengtheners. They are responsible for energy storage and also maintaining structural integrity, like supporting the cell walls. The example is silica and also boron. And the third group is the free agents, basically. This one stay in free ionic form to balance the plant. Think of them as a vital aspects of osmoregulation. Examples include K, Ca, Mg, Cl, and Na. And the last group is related to the redox reaction. Examples include iron, manganese, and so on. And lastly, what happens when the soil runs out the food? The plant goes into survival mode, relies on mobility, like transporting material from one place to another place. So here is the group. Mobile nutrients. These can be quickly mobilized to support fresh new growth. Because of the plant drain nutrients from its older leaves to survive, those leaves will show deficiency symptom first. So for the example, including N, K, magnesium, and so on. And then how about the immobile nutrients? These are permanently locked into the plant structure and cannot be relocated. Because the plant can't move them, the new leaf won't get what they need. There is no transfer there and will show the deficiency symptom first. So the examples include calcium, S, and so on. So then we already talking about the basic concept of plant nutrition. Nutrients are absorbed by roots and then assimilated. Next, please check the LMS for further materials. Thank you.